Well, greetings, YouTubians. It's another beautiful day here in New Jersey. I was just headed up to the shop to do a little tattooing, and my client texted me and said they had to reschedule. So February in the tattoo business is always kind of hit or miss. It's actually the best time of the year to get tattooed because you're not worrying about going outside and exposing a fresh tattoo to sun and weather and salt and all that stuff. So we do keep relatively busy like that, but the other side of it is that, you know, when it's 11 degrees, the last thing people want to do is sit and get tattooed. I don't know, it's not something I look forward to doing, but I'm actually going to do that soon. I've got to get my granddaughter's name put on me. I've got to put my older granddaughter's name on me first, and then the new one. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's crazy, you know, doing names on people and all that. We always, you know, try to tell people, you know, maybe you don't get your girlfriend's name or stuff like that. Like your wife, okay, but girlfriend's not good. But kids, on the other hand, are really wonderful, you know, because it's just a name. In the beginning, you know, you really don't have anything connected to it. Like, oh, it's a new little baby and stuff. But in a very short time, that name becomes recognizable with a whole host of, you know, personality traits. And, you know, you read that name, it's like, oh man, I know where that kid's at, good or bad, you know. So it's really, it's such a cool thing. You know, these days too, I'm tattooing kids that I tattooed their names on their parents, you know, 18 to 20 years ago, you know, and now this kid is coming in and getting tattooed. So, you know, it's a great continual story, you know, of how tattooing really impacts us. You know, it's a silly, frivolous thing to do, and there's no reason to do it. But that's the best reason to do it, because it's just fun and good, you know. I've said it before, you know, when I was in high school and got my first tattoo, my art teacher was appalled. You know, what the heck are you doing, man? You know, you're gonna look like a criminal. You're gonna regret that, and blah blah blah. You know, and he said, you know, he said, I think you think that you are so different on the inside, and you want to show it to everybody on the outside. And man, no truer words could be spoken. And that really is probably one of the best descriptions of why I think tattooing is so powerful. So that's enough of that. So I decided to take a little adventure here because I got nothing to do at the shop. I'll probably stop in there later. But I'm going to go up to Sandy Hook, which is part of the Gateway. I don't know if it's a national park, state park. But encompasses the whole kind of harbor, the New York City harbor. I'm not really sure of the real technical names of it, but it's got those twin lighthouses, and then the Sandy Hook goes out, and there's an old Fort Hancock, which was an old Army or Navy military installation that protected the whole harbor there. From there over to the Statue of Liberty and out to the Verrazano. It's really, really cool. But they have a whole little family of seals that have kind of taken up residency up there, and they'll sometimes show their face and hop up on some pilings and splash around and stuff. So I'm hoping I can see them. I don't know. They normally show a couple hours before low tide, and I think low tide today is about 4 o'clock up there. So I'm going to give it a shot, but there's also a ton of wild deer running around, and it's just a beautiful area. So I'm going to take all you guys along for this quick little adventure. My wife and Riley are up at the house in PA with her mom. You know, we're still recovering from the loss of our beautiful boy, Oli. Breaks my heart. But he had a great life and gave us nothing but love. So let's see how the day goes. So before I get out to Fort Hancock and Sandy Hook, I'm just going to take a little bird's eye view from up here at one of my favorite spots on the Jersey coast. This is the Twin Lights. I did a video on it. couple of months ago, I guess. But this is such a beautiful, beautiful spot. And you can just see for miles. It's a little overcast today, but it's just beautiful. Right dead center there is the Verrazano Bridge connecting Staten Island to Brooklyn and New York City. But all this land between there and here is Sandy Hook. Out there is Coney Island. Really something. So we're gonna head out that way, and I'll show you some really cool stuff. There's some seals that kind of nest up there or kind of hop up and stuff. So I don't know if they'll be out today, but the ocean looks pretty calm. Bunch of ice here on the inlet. Really, really something. Like I said, this is one of my favorite buildings on the Jersey coast, the Twin Lights, built in 1862. So if you get a minute and you're interested in it, go check out one of my videos on it. So I'm just going to jump back in my truck and head down to Sandy Hook. It's actually pretty nice out. It's been so darn cold, no wind, so just running around in my Carhartt is not so bad. So we'll see when I get down there how the weather is holding. But really neat spot. That's the back side of it. My little life-saving station. So much history, and all of it just powered by people, you know. I don't think they even had any like real serious radios or any of that stuff. You know, if you got jammed up out on the ocean, you were at the mercy of nature. So, all right, next stop, Sandy Hook. Well, here we are, Sandy Hook. I'm slowing down. No fee. Okay, see ya. See ya. That's where we came from over there. The Twin Lights. Pretty darn cool. It's not a real big place. It's a quick little ride, but man, you don't see this much ice ever. It's been really so cold around here that just everything is frozen solid. Like I said, this was a military base back in the day, and I don't know if there might even still be some active military around here. I'm not really sure. Well, I just parked in one of these little parking lots up here. This is actually Fort Hancock. It must have been a ton of people out here over the years because there's lots of barracks. I'll take you over to Officers Row here too, and you can see where the officers and everybody stayed. It's wild because it's kind of a state park. There's tons of wildlife running around. And I just walked around this corner and there's two big old fat deers just standing right there. So actually there's more than that. I can see a bunch here. So I'm just gonna kind of walk up to them, see what's up. Right in the shadow of this beautiful lighthouse. Look at those guys. These guys are on the trail here. I could see past that. There's a couple of more walking around. Yeah, these guys must be hungry. It's wild. Our Great Dane Ole was bigger than this guy. How crazy is that? These guys have zero fear of humans. What's up, guys? They got their winter coats on. Hey there, lady. So darn pretty. This lighthouse, right? If these buildings could talk. All right, you following your homie down there? Hey, you. Hui. It's so calm out here. Here's more guys coming up the street here. This is the mortar battery. I guess they had giant guns aimed towards the water to repel any attackers. But this must have employed thousands of people when it was going strong. I guess this is the lighthouse keeper's quarters. The first time it was lit was in 1764. Wow. And the lighthouse was built because the merchants of New York City petitioned the Colonial Assembly of New York to build a lighthouse on Sandy Hook to guide sailing ships safely into the harbor. Huh. So on June 11th, 1964, the Sandy Hook Lighthouse was declared a National Historic Landmark on the 200th anniversary of its lighting. Crazy, man. I'm saying this is right here in my own backyard. How do I not just do a little exploring? I just have had cabin fever for the last month. So it's nice to get out, stretch my legs, get some fresh air. Try not to step in deer poop as I'm walking back to my truck. Another one of the locals. Oh, brother or sister. Little girl. Man, they're crawling all over the place. And look at this little guy too. Wow, little fox. Don't run away. Look at that guy. See that little fella? See him? Wow. That's nature at its finest. What's up, Holmes? All right. Off he goes. Sorry, brother, I got nothing for you. He's got his big, heavy winter coat on. See ya. Pretty cool. Man, this place is loaded with deer. What's up, guys? They look at me like, who the hell is this big funny looking guy? All right, come on. Beat it, nerd. So this is what's left of those gun installations. There were huge, giant cannons all mounted to all this cement work. And there's giant kind of caverns and caves where they were keeping all the armaments, you know, keeping all the artillery shells and stuff. Wow. No matter where you look, there's just some interesting building or piece of architecture. Man, to say they don't build stuff like they used to is an understatement. This thing's been here a long, long time. Surprised there hasn't been too many people up and walking around here. Whoa, I wonder what that is. A little fixer-upper. A little well here. More deer walking around down there, walking around like they own the place. And I guess technically they do. Wow, yeah, every time you turn around. And I guess this is a Coast Guard station out here. That looks like it's pretty active right there. So I'm gonna drive along Captain's Row where all the officers' housing was. And right on the water across from that is where the seals seem to be showing up, so we'll see. Some little dirty pawed creature making his way along the snow. Lots going on out here, man. Look at these trees, just beautiful. Well, there's still a lot of activity going on out here for sure. This down here to the right is Officers Row. I'll take a little ride down that way. And I think the seals are down on some rocks down there. I think they pretty much go to the same place all the time. We were here in the summertime and they were running around. This is the Sandy Hook Chapel. Years ago, my wife and I looked into getting married here, but there was like a 3 or 4 year waiting list. And we didn't want to wait. Some interesting history too. This thing, the Rodman gun, I guess they're saying this is the largest muzzle loading cannon ever made. It's 20 inches. That's shooting some big old cannonballs, man. That'll stop you in your tracks. But you can see there's still some, this little bar or restaurant here, but a little firehouse, beautiful trees. Really something. And this is all literally probably right across the bay here is probably, 3 miles to New York City, if that. The Rodman Cannon. That's no joke. What did it take to even build that thing? So I guess this little piece of land here is currently a Coast Guard base or Homeland Security. A couple of new modern structures in there. I wonder if they've got any icebreakers or if they need them. I'm sure they do. Well, I certainly don't condone trespassing, but I can't resist an open fence. So. All right, wow, this is a great view of the captain's quarters, or Officers Row, I think they call that. I think you can kind of rent them too. I think they might be up for rent, but that naval ship out there is docked at a munitions depot here in Leonardo, New Jersey. We tattoo a bunch of sailors up in the Red Bank, young guys coming in, looking to get a little souvenir from their trip. So quiet, man. And like I said before, to think that we're literally within 10 miles of New York City, if that. Well, speak of the devil, there's a Coast Guard vessel right now. Looks like it's got a bunch of young guys on it. Making a little turn. How much fun must that be? Cold, too. But those Coast Guard guys are the people you call when things go bad. And man, they show up in force with boats and helicopters and a whole array of things. Oh, those guys are just having fun, man. Maybe trying to break up the ice or something on that little inlet. So I'm just gonna head on out of here, drive past Officers Row here. There's a couple of people floating around out here, checking out the scenes. Actually looks like a theater. I wonder if it was, but. Yeah, some of these have been restored, and you can see that there's people in them. I don't know if they're military, but some of them are kind of in a little bit of disrepair. A couple of different styles for rent. I think we looked into that or called that number, and they were talking about the rent being really like kind of high, like almost $3,000 a month, but you know, something like that. But I don't know, pretty darn cool. Yeah, I just talked to a couple when I was out looking at that Coast Guard boat, and they were saying the seals were not out and about today. It was too cold, which is kind of funny that it's not too cold for us, but it's too cold for seals. So what the heck does that say about it? Yeah, I wonder what they're going to do with all this. It's been like this for years too, so all right, and here's just a glimpse of where this is, right? You're really right across the road from the bay here. A little twist. Oh, I'm glad they're leaving it the way it is, as opposed to, you know, like everything around here, turning it into giant condo development and amusement park or this or that. Certainly a glimpse into days gone by. Well, just as a point of reference, there's that bridge I came over, and if you look right there, that's the Twin Lights. That's where we were up and kind of got the whole perspective of all this. And man, things are frozen solid. That looks like a little Coast Guard helicopter, probably going back to that base we just left. There he is. Hope he's not on a call. Well, I can't think of a better way to spend a frozen day in February than driving around aimlessly and just looking at some cool sights. Saw some deer, a cute little fox was pretty neat. It's wild. They seem like they're as curious about us as we are to them. I think I did a video about this during the summertime we were down here. I don't know if we were riding the bike down here or something like that, but it was cool. Well, thanks everybody for watching. I'm kind of back on track and committed to doing more videos. Again, I'm so inspired by so many people that I see from every walk of life and age and all that. And if you're interested in this kind of stuff, it's a really simple thing to do. You don't need a lot of high-end equipment. I bought some stuff that I used a couple of times and realized, it's not so good. But this is, you know, you don't have to invest a ton of dough and just share your likes or your life. It's really interesting, man. It's been quite a journey, and I'm sticking on it. So unless I see something else interesting by the time I get to the shop, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.